Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Nikita. I am former PLN point of contact in GSD, Global Service Desk, and I'm now going to deliver this crash course into planning process. So let's begin. So first of all, I would like to mention that planning process is also known uh, in our company as PLN as abbreviation. And as an agenda for this course, we are going to discuss introduction and process overview, then tools and accesses, which we work with in GSD. And also we will cover the three modules which PLN consists of, which are demand planning, supply planning, and factory planning. So let's start this video with introduction and process overview. So what is actually PLN and where is its place among other processes which we have in JTI? So PLN, it was previously known as APO, which stands for Advanced Planning Optimizer. It is a logistic module and part of global supply chain or big GSC group. As you can see, this group also includes such modules as procure to pay direct procurement. That is why also direct procurement in ITSP is called GSC procurement, global supply chain. Then O2C, order to cash, also known as sales module, inventory management, which is actually part of F2S, and shop floor, or also known as manufacturing or material production management. So in this group, PLN will be a fifth, I would say, big process. And just to prove my point, I can show you the structure. So you can see that as for the moment, Carlos Benavente is BTS Global Supply Chain Function Director. And if we go to direct reports, we can see that Mariel, who is team lead of direct procurement and inventory management. Also Mircea Catalin, who is in charge of shop floor manufacturing, and all the planning and transportation management consultants are under this GSC function group. Also, yeah, I've mentioned transportation management, but I guess I didn't mention it here in the training, so I will add it right now ad hoc. So TM or transportation management is also a part of GSC. Okay. So just you know that PLN is not a standalone process. It is incorporated in this whole big group of supply chain. Then we have this beautiful slide, which was really appreciated by my colleague Dmitry when he worked in GTA. So it is a convenient diagram showing the hierarchy, the structure of modules, main logistic and finance modules in GTA. So how to read it, what we can see here. So first of all, everything starts with our suppliers. So we have our suppliers, the third-party vendors, which we work with. We buy goods and spare parts and some equipment for our plants, offices from our suppliers. And it is controlled by P2P process in JTI, which can be split to procurement and purchasing. So long story short, procurement part is responsible for tender conduction, choosing the best suppliers, checking the SPL, sanctioned party lists, um, putting some unwanted suppliers to blacklists and so on. And purchasing is like a technical part of P2P, which is actually responsible for buying goods and um, equipment and so on from our suppliers. So purchasing creates documents, purchase requisitions, purchase orders. So probably, well, I will assume that you are familiar with P2P process, so I won't spend a lot of time describing it. Then, for example, when we bought some ingredients, let's say, or some, I don't know, like some paper, carton, filters, and so on from our suppliers, we have all our components and we can start the manufacturing process. So manufacturing, uh, it is actually shop floor from the previous slide, also inventory management and supply network planning, which is our module planning. Uh, all of these three modules are logically parts of big F2S process or forecast to stock. So this mega process is responsible for manufacturing goods, finished goods. So for example, we need to ensure that we have all the components and the raw tobacco to produce some finished goods such as cigarettes, tobacco evaporating systems, roll your owns, and so on. So when we ensure that we have all that, we need to also check what do we have in our stocks, how many of already produced finished goods we have in our stocks on the in the warehouses or directly on the plants, for example. It is controlled by inventory management module. Then when we consider all that, we can start producing the finished goods. And when finished goods are already produced by the machines, when we have the store keeping units on stock, finished goods go through O2C or order to cash process. And finally, what we need to do is to sell them to our customers. So that is what O2C process is responsible for. We have our finished goods and we have our customers in SAP. They are maintained in the same way as vendor or suppliers do. So suppliers and customers are both the subcategories of so-called business partners. So customers maintained in SAP are usually like big retailers, so not like small shops, but big retailer groups. And we sell our finished goods to them. So you can see that this flow, this consequence of arrows, is a material movement. So again, this is a material movement through SAP. Then, when we sold our finished goods to customers, of course, we receive money. That's the aim of any company, to receive profits. So we receive money from our customers, and the money flow goes the opposite way. So you can see the finance module or record to report, R2R. It is displayed below all three of logistic modules, because financial operations are really like going through all the processes. So of course, everything in the company is related to money, and there cannot be any logistics operations without money reporting and control. So money flow goes the opposite way, goes through financial management and management reporting. And we have some of the money left to start the cycle all over again and buy some components, goods, equipment, and so on from our suppliers. So that's the continuous cycle of materials and money. But what is this third cycle on the top? So that is actually the information flow, which is the most important for our topic, PLN process. So information also goes the opposite way, the opposite to material flow. So let's just imagine that we sold like 5 cases of cigarettes to our customers. And we expect that next month we will also sell 5 or even 6 cases of cigarettes to our customers. But for some reason, next month we were only able to sell 4 of them. So what can be the reason for this? There are plenty of reasons, like seasonal demand drops, natural disasters, political reasons, crises, and so on and so on. So there are a lot of analysts in the company who analyze this information, and this information about our sales goes back to planning module. So when we have all the information from sales, that's when we can start our planning. So we can maintain our portfolio. Maybe we need to create a new product. Maybe we need to make some existing products obsolete because they are no longer popular among the customers, and so on and so on. And considering the statistics for sales and information about our portfolio, we can plan purchasing activities and manufacturing activities for next month. So that's very, very high level overview of the planning process. So it is not directly related to money, but it is somewhere between the information flow and logistics flow. So the ultimate goal of supply chain management is to do just-in-time delivery of goods and services to all locations in the supply chain at the lowest cumulative network cost. Because if we overproduce, then we will need to keep those extra store keeping units, SKUs, in the warehouses. We will need to spend money on it, and also we need to consider such term as shelf life. As you know, like of course, cigarettes are not food, and the shelf life expiration date is not so small, but still we don't want to keep the finished goods in our warehouses for too long. And the underproduction is, of course, a loss of profit, because it means that the demand, we couldn't cover it, and it was probably taken by our competitors, right? Because like There cannot be empty place on the market. If people want to smoke, they will smoke. If we cannot provide them with enough production of our own company, then they will buy production of another company, which we don't want, obviously. Then moving to structure of PLN process itself. So I guess now we understand where planning process stands in the hierarchy, and also we understand why do we need it. So let's move to the brief structure of planning process, and it can be divided into 3 main groups or planning levels. So the first planning level is called demand planning. This is a general planning for 18 months, but actually I would like to add that all 3 levels of planning are maintained for 18 months or at least 12 months time period. So yes, demand planning is a long-term planning, so-called, but it doesn't mean that other levels of planning only consider like a month or 6 months, for example. No, that's not true. So we have demand planning, and the purpose of this planning level is to determine the consensus demand to maintain the portfolio of our products, like what products will we have available next month, what are we going to produce in 3 months or in 6 months, and so on. And we have a consensus demand, which is how much of this or that product is required for various markets. Of course, we know that some markets are bigger than others. In some markets, our sales are bigger than in the others. So every market has its own demand level. Some markets can have even different products. For example, some plume models, they can be implemented in some markets, and for other, they are not yet in production. That's totally normal. So demand planning is regulating all that. Then we have the second planning level, which is supply planning or supply network planning, which is a tactical plan of material management between locations. So starting from here, we are moving from the worldwide perspective to the more narrow one within one market. So as you might know, market can be equal to a country, for example, like Russian market or German market, and so on. And market can be also a region, for example, a conglomerate of several countries, like MINIT region, for example, and so on. So for supply planning level, we are managing the distribution of finished goods of production between different locations. So let's say that in Russia, we have 3 factories. The Petro factory near St. Petersburg, the Kres Neva factory also near St. Petersburg, and the Donskoy Tabak plant, which is located in the more southern part of Russia. And supply planning level will manage the distribution of manufacturing needs, of purchasing needs between those 3 plants. So for example, for Petro factory, we need to buy some new machines, some new equipment to modernize the production. Also, we are in shortage of paper filters, so we need to buy more paper filters next month. But for Donskoy Tobacco Factory, we have plenty of paper filters on stock, and there is no need to buy them in the next months to continue and provide a stable production. So that's just a quick improvisation example. And the third level is production planning detailed scheduling, or PPDS. So it can be considered as a short-term planning of our production within location, so at the specific plant. I would like to stress one more time that yes, PPDS is considered a short-term planning. However, it also has limit of 12 or even 18 months. It is just not so accurate at this time limits. So saying we are planning the work, we are planning the manufacturing process for a specific factory. Let's take Petro as an example. For example, we are now in the end of March, so probably the April cycle should be really, really well planned. We need to have day-by-day schedule of when, like, when something, one finished good will be produced, when another finished goods will be produced, in what quantities, what should be purchased to maintain the stable production, and so on. But if we think about October, it is not so near. Well, we should plan for October already, but as the time goes by and as this month approaches, the scale of planning will be more and more accurate. So for now, we have only approximate plan for October, but in August, this plan needs to be more or less confirmed, more or less stable. And in September, it should be the most accurate to not to stop our production. Yes, so moving further. Yeah, this is also a good diagram. So what are the prerequisites for a planning process? First of all, planning takes sales predictions based on reports. So we have not only the statistics of previous months, but we need to transfer the past statistics to future forecasts. So we know statistics for previous months. We know statistics for same month of last year, and using the forecast analytics, using some formulas, we can calculate the forecast or the prediction for future months. Also, we need to consider our capacities and resources. So that means our actual machines, like some of them can demand some repair, or for example, we are planning to buy some more equipment, or some equipment just became obsolete, or maybe we have pretty well working equipment, but it just doesn't suit for a new product which we are going to implement starting from next month. So we need to consider all that and make sure that all the machines are available and ready to produce the finished goods. And finally, we need to consider the current stock levels. So of course, we need to first sell the old stock before we start selling the just recently produced finished goods. So we need to keep all that in mind, not to have too much of goods on stock, but also not to let it go almost empty, because anytime there can be some adjustments in production volume, and we need to have some um, finished goods left on stock always to cover this unexpected adjustments without stopping or without the underproduction. So sales predictions, capacities, and our current stock levels are considered as prerequisites to have a detailed plan when and where and which components need to be purchased or produced, and where the materials should be sent. So, just to comment on that last sentence, we have some markets where we obviously sell our production, but we don't have any plants. So how do we sell our finished goods there? Of course, we produce them somewhere else. For example, a very big production plant is located in Poland, also known as PLP2. But some European markets don't have the production plants. So the production plant located in Poland supplies other markets, warehouses located in other markets with finished goods. And from there, we can sell them to our customers, to big retailers. Okay, so moving forward to the next big and important slide is PLN structure overview. So this can look quite confusing, and I don't want to go extremely deep into each step right now, because it is just an overview training. But let's just briefly discuss it. So first, the planning cycle is opened by global planning team located in Geneva. So this is the only business global team for planning process. It consists of approximately 40 people. Previously, they were mostly located in Trier, but as for now, I recently checked, and almost all of them are now in Geneva, so in headquarters. And they launch every monthly planning cycle. So what are the first actions for planning cycle? First of all, it is validation of master data and cycle preparation by all planners, which means maintenance of portfolio and not only portfolio, like which products do we produce and which products do we sell, but also master data in SAP. You are probably familiar with it, like material master data, purchasing for records, the work centers or machines, the plant master data, and so on. So everything should be ready for the next cycle, and all the adjustments should be done in the very beginning as a preparation step. And as I already mentioned previously, we need to have our data from previous months, like data on production, on sales, how much we have on stock. It is provided by markets and factories. So obviously the inventory information is provided by factories or plants, and production and sales information is provided, no, not production, but sales information is provided by markets, and production is also provided by factories. So this is, we can call it a preparation step. Once we are set and ready, we can start with demand planning, which is a first step. First big step in our planning process. And here for demand planning, we need to, as I said, estimate how much we need to produce and buy worldwide, and divide it by markets, like approximately, but not in a very detailed, accurate way. Then moving from the bigger picture to the more narrow one, we are moving to supply planning, which is step 2. Both demand and supply planning steps are mostly conducted in IBP. I will talk about it a little bit later. So this is a new system introduced a year ago. It is called an integration business planning. Yes, so this is a cloud-based system interconnected with SAP. So on the supply planning stage, we also have the review of demands, and we need to break them down into more accurate and more specific demands for every market, and send this information to the third module, which is factory planning. So factory planning is conducted not in IBP mostly, but in SAP for HANA, we are all familiar with. And on the factory planning level, every particular plant, every particular factory breaks down the demands from supply stage to the to particular orders, requisitions, production orders, plant orders, and so on and so on. So we're generally going from the high level, more approximate picture, to the more narrow, more detailed, more specific picture for every particular factory. And the last step, last but not least, is leaf planning, managed by global leaf team. But of course, this step is also related to planning process, but unfortunately, it is not supported by GSD team in scope of PLN process. I would say it is supported by Leaf GSD analysts, who will probably escalate all issues related to this step to BTS Leaf team. So we're not touching this in a detailed way because, to be honest, I have almost no idea what is going on in the leaf planning process. It is very sophisticated step. Yes, also between the supply and factory planning, we have this like extra step, which is divided into a separate category. It is called S&OP peer review. So S&OP peer review is purely conducted by business. It is a step when all the demands for different markets and capacities are reviewed, and business need to approve all this before sending this input information to factory planning module. So the aim of S&OP peer review is to reach the consensus and resolve mismatches. So just based on like, common sense. Okay, so probably I scared you a little bit with this overview, but it is really hard to speak of any particular step without giving the bigger picture in the first place. So I hope that with further videos, it will be easier to understand, and you will have the planning process picture appearing in your head. So moving to next point, I would like to stress is planning teams we have is JTI. So it is really hard to measure accurately because as far as I noticed, our company expands constantly, and during the last year, a lot of new planners have entered JTI structure. But as for now, there are approximately 1,200 PLN users in JTI. So just to roughly split them, let's say there are about 300 people as demand planners. So they mostly work with IBP system. Also about 300 people approximately in supply planning process. So they work also mostly in IBP. Then we have factory or EPPDS planners. So EPPDS is like the synonym or the same as factory planning. So it stands for embedded PPDS. So embedded means the system is incorporated in SAP for HANA. And PPDS means production planning and detailed scheduling. So that's actually what I said before when we plan the production and purchasing activities for every factory in the most detailed way possible. So that's called embedded PPDS module. So factory planners team consists of approximately 400 people. Then, as I said, we have global planning team, also known as GPT. Here is their mailbox. In some incidents, we need to contact them, but of course, I will mention it more detailedly later. And global planning team consists of about 40 people. Then we have global IT teams, GSD team. We have access to both IBP and EPPDS, and BTS PLN team. And finally, first I forgot about this team, but then I thought that it should be mentioned here as a separate one. Finally, we have CPI-DS team. So CPI-DS, I will talk about it later. It is the middleware, the small module which is needed for data integration between SAP and IBP. So the data is constantly synchronizing between SAP and IBP systems, and all of it goes through CPI-DS module. So there are just 8 people as for now. I've checked today, and this team consists of SDC data integration managers, several people, like maybe you know Lev Lokshin from PIPO team. So that's him and his team members. Also, a couple of developers and several BTS members are responsible for maintenance of this tool. So that's always JTI planning teams. And moving to the architecture part. So this slide also looks quite scary, but let me explain it in a brief way. So as main modules and interfaces we work with, we have, of course, SAP as for HANA. So for production, it is a P40 system where we have our master data and transactional data. So the materials, purchase orders, the financial data as well, everything is maintained in SAP. Then we have integrated business planning or IBP cloud system. You can see the tag new because this diagram was actually prepared by project team before the go live. As for now, these systems are not so new already. It's almost a year since they are implemented in our company, but still they are relatively new. So IBP is also a SAP solution. However, it is like a separate product, a cloud-based system, and it contains master data for demand planning, supply planning, also the portfolio of materials and planning units, and finally the reports and analytics, which are embedded or incorporated into the IBP itself. So you can see this double-sided arrow between SAP and IBP. So we can say that this arrow is CPIDS, which I mentioned on previous slide. So all the data between SAP and IBP is transferred through this CPIDS module. Then we have our favorite SAP BW module with all types of different reportings and analytics, with analysis for Office add-in. So of course, for planning process, reporting part is extremely valuable and important. So we have our GPM module, GSCA module we are familiar with, and we also have portfolio cockpit, where all the finished goods are maintained. So this is a separate web platform I will show to you later. Then we have a separate Leaf costing tool, which we will not really talk a lot about it because I'm not really sure how it works. And the forecast module, which is also carried out through Excel, through IBP Excel add-in. And finally, we have this block with like Power BI, SAP Analytics Cloud. So you know that SAP Analytics Cloud is a platform for one data. Then we have Power BI Analytics used for some reporting purposes as well. So we don't really won't really talk about this block a lot because there are not so many incidents for this matter. So mainly we will talk about these three blocks, SAP, PPDS, IBP, and SAP BW in relation to planning. So, but what is actually IBP? Moving to every block. So IBP stands for Integrated Business Planning for Supply Chain. It is a cloud-based solution provided by SAP company, which combines sales and operational planning, forecasting and demand, response and supply, demand-driven replenishment, and inventory planning. So sounds quite a lot for one platform, and also sounds quite scary, I would say. So this is really profound and big platform containing a lot of tools, lots of mathematical algorithms are embedded in this platform. And we will, of course, talk about it more later when we will when we will start the demand planning module. Then CPIDS stands for Cloud Platform Integration for Data Services. It is a data integration solution that is used to integrate data between SAP HANA, SAP BW, and SAP IBP. So you can see it is just a middleware, just like a membrane between IBP and SAP. So you might think that the data go through CPIDS constantly, and as soon as you change something in SAP, it will be changed in IBP instantly. But that's not actually right. Of course, there is some data which is synchronized like every minute or every couple of minutes. For example, some master data for materials and products. But a lot of, for example, transactional data like purchase requisitions, demands, and planned orders, they are synchronized between IBP and SAP, for example, once a day. So usually there are jobs running, so background jobs in CPIDS running, for example, every night at the same time, like 2 a.m. at night. And when the job runs, it synchronizes the data between PPDS and IBP. But if you will change some purchase requisition in SAP, you can expect it to appear in IBP only the next day after the night job runs. So that's important to know. And finally, the third main tool or interface I would like to emphasize now is ePPDS. So I already told what does it mean. It is production planning and detailed scheduling. And this is actually the set of data for how do we run the product in SAP S/4HANA. So maybe sounds quite mysterious, but actually, if you will imagine SAP P40, for example, as some circle, some set of data or some set of tables, I don't know, the PPDS will be just one of its parts. So it is, PPDS is located inside the P40, inside or Q40 if we're talking about quality, but for production, our system is P40. So PPDS is located there, but it is like a separate set of data, which also gets synchronized with the outer part of P40, let's say. So you can see that master data maintenance here where the process starts. For example, we change some material data in P40 through MM02T code. You probably know it. Then this changed information is synchronized with PPDS. So the material data from P40 goes to material data in PPDS. And then there is this cycle process where we have some requirements coming from IBP. We have master data coming from SAP P40. And then we can start the production planning process. We can create procurement proposals like purchase requisitions. We can plan lot size, like some material movements, stock transfer postings, and so on. We can optimize the sequence, which means use different machines, work centers, and so on. Then We can adjust this information as we go. And finally, all our planned operations are executed. So purchase orders are executed, and we receive the goods from our suppliers. Production orders are executed, and we have the fresh finished goods in our stocks, and goods movements are also completed. And then the cycle begins all over again. But the input for it, the master data, it comes from P40. So this is like this cycle-based separate set of data, and the input for it is the master data from SAP P40 system. So it's almost an hour, and I guess that's all for now. Let's finish this module and see you in the next video for tools and accesses. Bye.